And how much did you lose?
About 20,000.
This Upper West Side woman says someone posing as a recruiter texted her with a job offer. They said they wanted her to approve online advertisements for big-name brands on behalf of a marketing company supposedly based in New York. The catch? She had to fund the ads with her own money with the promise of getting it all back and then some. At first, she says the scammers really did pay her to earn her trust, but then she invested more and more and got nothing but excuses in return.
I sort of just broke down and my family found me and I told them the whole story and they just said, Catherine, this is a scam.
Data from the Federal Trade Commission shows Americans reported more than $630 million in losses to job scams last year. That number's more than quadrupled since 2021, a 385% increase. Look for my story on CBSNewYork.com to see how you can protect yourself.
Did anyone show you the AI Down syndrome kid? Which one? Which one? Yeah, was it like the curly hair kid selling crochet bags? No. Maybe a black kid with reddish hair selling berry bowls. Oh, there's a white kid with blue hair selling berry bowls too. Or a girl with pink hair. They weren't selling berry bowls. Was it a little girl who makes slippers? Or a boy with orange hair who makes crochet bags? No, it was not slippers and it wasn't bags. It was probably a resin lamp. What is that? Well, in this case, it's a cheap drop-shipped lamp that doesn't look like it does in the AI videos. Yeah, that's right. It looks super fake. Orange hair kid who uses the word abnormal. God, no, but it was a girl with orange hair. Okay, that's this one. Yeah, that one, but you know way too many of these. Well, this page used to be an old lady instead, but that was before the whole Down syndrome trend. So they just changed like that overnight? Yeah, happens a lot. Right now scammers are doing kids with Down syndrome or autism or kids in wheelchairs or beating up kids selling things from hospital beds. Oh, what the heck? I've barely scratched the surface, honestly.
Here are 3 societal scams that you need to look out for. At number 1 is student loans. This is a scam. They are scamming children. And I'm not telling people not to go to college. I'm telling you it's not worth hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt. You want to be able to start adulthood at home plate, and basically you're starting like in the stands. You're not even in the ball, but you're in the parking lot, if we're being honest. You need to understand the earning potential that's going to come along with your degree versus how much money you're going to be paying every single month to get rid of it. And don't count the minimums. That's what I did. They say, oh, just pay off the minimums. And I paid off the minimum for like 6 years and the balance like went up. And I was like, how can someone explain this math to me? And they're like, it's the interest. And I'm like, it's a scam, is what you're telling me. At number 2 is the healthcare system. They want you sick. They want you coming back. Obviously, we need the healthcare system, and that's why this whole thing is incredibly depressing. Because you're just sick, and then you're also getting scammed. It's a fun little loop that they play with us. Hey, you're not feeling well, here's a scam. What I'm saying is that by taking better care of yourself, you're gonna mitigate your interactions with them. That's what I do. I take very good care of myself. I work out, I eat well, I meditate, blah, blah, blah. So that when I go to the doctor, it's for just checkups, and also if something horrible has happened. That's generally the only time I need to interact with the doctor. And I know that that's like privilege, you know, it's not gonna be the case for everybody, but what I'm saying is if you're able to, you need to focus on taking better care of yourself so that you only need to go to the doctor when you absolutely have to. Because the more that you get into their cycle, the more that they're gonna try to profit off you. And number 3 is the subscription economy. Most subscriptions business model is they get together in a room and they say, hey, how can we get lots of people to sign up for this and then forget that they're paying it? I operate under the assumption when I pay for a subscription that I'm going to be paying it for the rest of my life. And if I don't want to be doing that, then I don't buy that thing. Because that's what they're doing. It's death by 1,000 knives. They're just like, oh no, it's only $3 a week. And then you times that by 60 and you're broke. That's the subscription math.
So you guys, I literally just tried to sell my freaking vanity for $50 and they were gonna come buy it or whatever. And, you know, I gave them like not necessarily the address, but where I was nearly located. I just told them to tell me, you know, when they're nearby, and then I would send them the address. And they're like, oh, okay, I just Zelled you. And this thing came up and I'm like, I don't have a business account, so it's not a business. And I was like, I already called the number, and I was like, I called my bank because that's not the number. And I was like, when I call my bank, it literally tells me that it's them and that the call is being recorded. And when I call this other number, it's literally because they answer and they're like, oh, it's customer service. And they're like, can you say your first and last name? And they're like, oh, it's because your account is below 500 and that's why we couldn't add the funds. So you need to add more money. And I'm like, what? That's not even accurate. Like, what? So I don't know. Scam is on the rise, but it is just so stupid. Like, these fucking people are so fucking dumb. And I'm stupid like enough to fucking fall for this shit.
My interpretation is that a lot of them are aware of scams. Oh, I've gotten that email, or oh, I've gotten that phone call, but they don't realize to what depth these scammers are going and how the inner workings. 25 years ago, it was that you get the email with the bad grammar and it's a scam. You get the phone call and it's somebody from another country, it's a scam. Nowadays, you can't rely on that because scammers are extremely savvy and tech smart. And so showing them, you take the techniques from this romance scam and you add techniques from an investment scam, and now you have a pig butchering scam. And they found out that everybody caught on about the IRS scams that you owe money. So now they're actually saying, if you don't pay, you're going to get a call from the police because there'll be a warrant out for your arrest. And then the next phone call you get is they're saying they're from that police department and they have a warrant for your arrest, just along the ways to make it seem more believable.
We just found out from court records that out-of-state criminals are now targeting water heaters, of all things, fraudulently returning them to Home Depot with altered serial numbers. We wanted to know if you could get one by mistake if they turned one in and it ended back on the shelf. Police say that's very unlikely because these are old, ratty, obviously used water heaters in which these alleged criminals are apparently taking advantage of liberal warranty policies and trying to convince Home Depot to take them back and then put money on a gift card. Police here are onto it. There's a joint cooperation between many agencies, St. Charles County, Jefferson County, and also now Homeland Security on this.
3 things that you can do if you've been scammed by a crypto investment opportunity. I'm an investigator with 7 years of experience here in the state of Utah, which is one of the biggest hotbeds of fraud in the United States. Kind of crazy to think about. And I've seen a lot of crypto frauds over my career. And these are the 3 things I've seen help investors or victims who've been scammed and create the best possible outcomes. Number 1, document the transaction hash, which is like a transaction ID, the address that you would have sent crypto to, and the type of cryptocurrency that you sent to the scammer. Make sure that you have that documented so that you can send it out to the parties that need to know. 2, immediately, the moment you have that information, file a complaint with IC3.gov. They are handling crypto fraud cases to the best of their ability. Obviously, a lot of these scammers are overseas, out of jurisdiction, but to the extent that the federal government is able to claw back some of those losses, they're doing their best, and they are the best entity to do so. In fact, a lot of state government agencies just refer your complaint to IC3.gov anyway. Number 3, the third thing that you need to make sure that you're doing is not paying anyone else any cryptocurrency, all right? If you are approached by someone who says, I can help you recover your money, just pay me some sort of fee or give me some of your personal information up front, those are also scams. Those are also scams. Private companies are unable to claw back crypto losses. I've seen these ads on TikTok as recently as this week. Those are scams. Please hear me clearly. There is no guarantee. In fact, it's highly unlikely that you will get any of your money back in a crypto fraud scheme, unfortunately. But a lot of people will try to tell you, oh, here's what I did, and here's the certainty that I had. The truth, and it's an unfortunate truth, it is highly unlikely you will get any of that money back from the crypto fraud. It is super rare that I've ever seen any government agency collect and recover those losses. If anyone's been able to do it, obviously it's been the federal government through IC3, but even then, it's still very rare. If you do not have a very thorough understanding of cryptocurrency, how it works, and understand it enough to be a sophisticated investor in that space, I would advise you probably shouldn't be investing in cryptocurrency. There are way better ways to make money in investments. Cryptocurrency is speculative, and it's a super high fraud risk. For more tips and insights from a private investigator in the state of Utah, follow this page. And if you're looking for a free consult, I don't care where you're from, follow the link in my bio and give us a call.
The FBI is warning about a new scam call that's going around that if I didn't hear about this, I probably would have fell for it. I'm going to share this new fraud scam call with you and what exactly is going on, but make sure you share this so that your friends and loved ones don't fall victim to this. So this fraud scam call has been circulating for the past 2 months, but it seems like it's getting more and more popular, and a lot of people are losing money because of it. And this is strictly going to iPhone and Android users. This fraud scam call apparently even has the FBI on high alert, as it's using AI technology to impersonate banks, law enforcement agencies, and even government departments like the CBP. So the scam call goes that you get a call on your iPhone or Android, and the caller ID will say your local police department's name or the FBI's name or your local regional bank's name. And essentially the call will say your bank account's been hacked or you have a warrant that's been issued for your arrest. And then victims are then instructed to move their money to a safe account or download software that actually grants the scammers full access to your device. And with that spoof caller ID number and the fact that now they've used fear in order to tell you, hey, your bank account's been hacked, or
the funeral scam. If you aren't familiar with this, this is how it works. A group of people go up to a victim and they share a heartbreaking story, like their cousin or a family member died, and they're raising money for their funeral fund. They then ask you to tap to pay or use your phone to pay, like Apple Wallet, and then they scam you thousands of dollars.
You guys take cash? Yeah. Why not?
In this video, you can hear the witness ask if the four men take cash. They say no. When you hear the potential victim ask if they have a GoFundMe, they say no. These are actually two things you can do to not get scammed: ask if they take cash or ask if there's a reputable website where you can donate. As for the witness, she also acted fast. She took pictures of the license plates of the two cars that the suspected thieves got in and sent those to police.
Here's a habit that can help many people from falling for scams, for fraud, for having financial hardship later. And the tip is this, or the habit is this: always verify before sending money. If we haven't met yet, hi there, Raymond Martinez with Martinez Signature Solutions. We are a faith-led and family-driven service provider, sharing hope, service, strength across Texas and really across the nation. So welcome. Glad you're here. But yeah, it's important to verify before sending money, especially in today's world. Scammers have become very convincing. And unfortunately, a lot of people are still falling for the scams, and they're finding out too late. So I want to bring up 3 points to help you in figuring out whether you're dealing with a scam and just how to protect yourself, things to look out for. So the first thing is to keep in mind, always remember that scammers are going to create some sort of emotional situation. They want to, they want to hit you where it can trigger your emotions. And the way they do that is that they may pretend to be a family member. They may pretend to be somebody from a government agency, somebody from your bank, somebody from a delivery company, from somebody from the police department, even a friend online. They can pretend to be anybody where they feel that they can make an emotional connection with you. And they'll also create urgency in their message, or when they're calling you, if they call you, send money now, act immediately, don't tell anyone, things like that. They might include in their in what they're telling you, if you're talking to them on the phone, or they'll put it in the message if they're texting you or emailing you. The pressure is intentional. That pressure is intentional because, again, they want to make an emotional connection with you because they want to trigger you emotionally to where you respond based on your emotions, and you act without thinking. You act without thinking. That's what they want. And so they hit your emotions, and then they give you urgency. You need to act now. Send the money now. Act immediately. Don't tell anyone. We get this taken care of. And so they just put on that pressure because, again, they want you to act without thinking. They're hitting your emotions. So be careful with that. It brings us to point number 2 now. If you receive a call or get a message along those lines, verify. Verify independently. If it's from the bank, call the bank yourself. Verify. Hey, I've got so and so on the line. On the other line, telling me this and this and this. And then the bank's going to be like, well, first of all, we don't have anybody by that name working here, and second of all, we would never call you regarding that. Whatever it is they're calling you about. So, and that's for anything. If it's a delivery company, government agency, police department, if it's a family member, call the family member directly. Be like, hey, are you really in trouble? They're gonna be like, no, I'm sitting here at home, watching TV. I'm fine. Okay, whatever, right? Whatever may be going on. But verify independently what's happening. Don't rely on any information that the caller is telling you, or if it's a text or email message, whatever information they're sending you, don't rely solely on that information. And don't click on any links. If they send you a text message or an email message with links, don't click on those links, because those links are going to harm you. If it's from the bank, don't click on that link that they send you. Open another tab and go directly to your bank, and log into your account and see, okay, no, I'm fine, everything's fine, or call the bank. Call the bank directly. Don't use the phone numbers or the links that they send you. Call the bank directly from your phone, and say, hey, I just got a text message, or I just got this email from you guys saying this and this and this, and then they can verify me and be like, nope, there's nothing wrong with your account. Your account is fine. And so just verify independently. Third point that I want to talk about is, if they are telling you to send money, you're talking to somebody, or they're messaging you and they're wanting you to send money, be cautious with the payment method that they're wanting you to use. So, and it's going to be unusual, because it's going to be a payment method that you don't usually use. So it's going to be like, they might say, to use gift cards, go and buy gift cards, or pay it using a wire transfer, and or use cryptocurrency, or pay it through Cash App or Venmo, or some other payment app, and it's going to some stranger. You're sending it to this person that you have no idea who this is. You've never heard of them, but that's where they're wanting you to send the money to, right? To take care of this situation, take care of this problem, so that way your account is not jeopardized, or whatever, right? Be cautious of if they're telling you to do stuff like that, because that's another indication that you're dealing with a scammer. So yeah, just some things that I wanted to talk about, point out, just kind of help remind people, because again, like I said, unfortunately, scammers are pretty convincing, and a lot of people are still falling for the scams. So just remember, they're going to try and make an emotional connection with you. They're going to give you a sense of urgency because they want you to act without thinking. So if you get some weird call, or a message or email, and that's like just out of the blue, that something is wrong, verify independently. And then, of course, be cautious if they're wanting you to send money through a gift card or a wire transfer, or to use, some sort of payment app, like Cash App or Venmo or, something like that. Just be cautious. All right. So, yeah, hope you got some value out of this. Feel free to share the video, as always, no problem there. And let me know your thoughts in the comments. And of course, as always, just a quick reminder that this video is for general educational purposes only. I am not an attorney. This is not legal advice. If you have questions concerning the topic, please reach out to a licensed attorney who can answer your questions or give you the advice that you need regarding your situation. If you need help contacting an attorney, whether it's for personal or business related issues, please reach out to me and I can help you in that regard. And so, yeah, with that, just remember, slow down, verify, and then act. Catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.